and this is something I discovered over time, not when I'd seen the movie, is Dev D, and apparently that's you.
I was like,
Obsessive in love, experimenting with drugs, and a modern Devdas in your own right, at least for the screen.
Well,
would that be correct?
Well, the reason why I wanted to contemporize the book was exactly that. I read the book and I was like, why do they make such a big deal out of this guy? He's a more chauvinistic character, and then there's such a it's such a male patriarchal view of a man and women relationship, where the women are just fawning over him. No matter what he does, he can never be wrong.
It's a fantasy, right? And it's coming from the 1800s.
Like, there's something wrong here. So I was like, let's empower the women. Let's call out his chauvinism. Let me see if I can still get him empathy. As far as the alcohol, I mean, of course, he's an alcoholic in that. And I was like, I grew up in an environment now in the modern age where drugs and alcohol both, it's all available. So, you know, this is a tale that can be said even today. Chauvinism exists even today. Patriarchy exists even today. But what didn't exist back then was giving women a much stronger role. And my Chanda character was far stronger than what eventually got made into the movie, because she was an East European pole dancing escort who's fine the way she was. She was making great money and she's traveling the world. She takes pity on him, but she doesn't get as vulnerable as he does, because it was important for me for having both the women not playing to his bullshit. But obviously it worked for Anurag, where she was as vulnerable as he was, and she was a victim too. For me, he was the only victim. The women only grew stronger from
Did you know someone like that?
The escort? Did I know someone like that? I'm not going to tell you.
I can still ask, right?
Can ask. I know all sorts of people, let's just put it that way. Sure, I know.
Including yourself?
Yeah, I know a few escorts in my life.
The other thing that I'm pretty sure you've read about yourself, or people have told you up front, is that if we look at your career trajectory, right, there is something that happened in 2013. The great movies, one after the other, and which is not to say that the movies you did or series you did thereafter was not great. I mean, that's a personal, it's a subjective call in any case. What you think is great, it may not be great for someone else.
No, yeah, you don't have to justify it.
Yeah.
Go on. You don't have to justify
So what
it.
happened? Like, did you lose your mojo?
Look, it's everything collective. Like I said, I don't like talking about it because I don't want to come across like I'm bitter or like a victim. I don't care. But when you take a stand, then you take a stand. And that has consequences. And then, are you ready to face those consequences?
Like, give me an example of a stand and how that could have had some consequences.
I don't know, calling out people for endorsing fairness creams.
So that's like A, B, C, not going to work with you. Because what the hell?
I don't think that's,
it's not as simple as that,
It's
right?
not as simple as that. No,
Yeah.
like I did a guest appearance in Shah Rukh's Hero. Shah Rukh was one of the people, and he's a really dignified man, and he wouldn't. It's collective. It's then showing up with a black eye on a red carpet and calling out Bhushan Kumar by name and saying T-Series, blah, blah, blah. It is constantly saying, why do we have to have song and dance? Why can't we have this, that, and the other?
Right.
It is then also having people like an Anurag spread crap about you behind your back. So it's not one reason.
Right.
This all happened collectively, and I take responsibility for all of it, because we all create our lives. Even when there are external forces working against you, it's also your provocation of them sometimes. So I've learned to take that responsibility. And so yeah, post 2013, it was tough, and I also took a back seat. I was like, okay, now I'm not going to go back and pretend like nothing ever happened. And I'm not going to go back and now be a different person. So I'm going to sit back and just see what comes my way and quietly work. Now, if it works, it works. If it doesn't, then so be it.
That, which became a big discussion topic about 2 or 3 years ago, and it's been carrying on for a while. It's the whole thing about insider, outsider, right? And I think you are the perfect example of someone who the outsiders will think is an insider, and the insiders will say definitely an outsider, right? And that's something you've had to go through pretty much all through your career.
I was born an insider, but I pretty much lived as an outsider. I had all the opportunity to be in, for sure. Especially after like Oi Lucky and Dev D, I definitely had a red carpet entry into whoever I wanted to work with at that time.
We're forgetting Zindagi Na Milegi Dobara also. Although
Not
little
just
later.
that, I mean, but even before that, like post Dev D, like I could have worked with everyone, anybody. Yeah, and that was also because I was born in a film family. Not just that I had successes behind me, also that I was doing
You had access.
newer stuff.
Yeah.
And you know, I was so and so's brother and so's son and so's nephew. So there was that familial bonding there as well, and an openness to me. So I never deny the fact that we have privileges born into the film industry, but that just depends on how you use them. I can go on about the fact that as a star kid, you're already expected to be at a higher standard than another newcomer. So there's pros and cons to everything, but I'm not going to sit here and talk about the cons. I can talk about the pros. Cons are there, but again, it's not as simple as black and white. It isn't just that, oh, you were born in it, so you have easy access. Then I put a post, I said, well, can we talk about caste in that case? Because you're supposed to carry on the profession of your father and you're not allowed to move out of it. So how about talking about that, not just the film industry alone? You know, it exists in every industry, nepotism does. And it more so in India than other countries simply because we are a culture of jati. You know, so it has a far deeper relevance than nepotism in America, where it also exists.
Right.
So let's have that dialogue. Nobody had that dialogue. Because it's just easier to point fingers, especially with people who have more power and more attention, because then you can draw attention to yourself. They scrutinize much more than other people are. And that destroys the purpose, because then what is your genuine attempt here? Do you really want a democratic process for everyone to have that chance? Because here I am, being an insider, trying to bring in new directors, new subjects, all the time, new actors. I never said no to that. And now OTT platforms are doing a lot of that. You see a lot more diversity than Bollywood ever had. But I'm not going to sit here and justify myself either. Like if you think I had it easy, sure, then so be it. I mean, you're doing your own self-disservice by judging others, because then you'll get judged in the same way.
But your first film, for instance, Chanda, right? Made by Vijeta Films, which is your family. It's sort of a family production in that sense. But it wasn't, I mean, from my memory of the film, when it came out, I don't think it was like this, like posters everywhere or hoardings everywhere, right? Do you think it was a low-key release? It
was, and we released, I remember it was 4th of March when the exams were on. It wasn't a very big release, no. The marketing wasn't necessarily out there, yeah.
Why is it called Vijeta Production?
My sister, my cousin, it's her name. She's younger to Sunny Bhaiya.
So it's Sunny Deol, Vijeta, and Bobby Deol.
No, then there's Ajita.
There's Ajita, another sister, and then there's Bobby Deol.
And then there's Bobby.
Right. Was Bobby supposed to play the lead in Sochanatha?
No.
Never, right? That was never the...
No.
It was always you. How did you meet Imtiaz and how did this happen?
I was introduced to him by somebody else from the industry, I remember, Sanjay. And he said, you should meet this guy, it's a great script. I said, okay. Then I heard him out. I loved it. I mean, Sochanatha is a strong script.
Yeah, it was. It's a great film.
Yeah, and I was like, this is amazing. I was like, let me introduce you to my brother. Well, no, he had another producer at the time who was not comfortable with the debut actor and a debut director. And I said, you know, my brother would definitely take a chance. He takes chances on new directors all the time. So why not? And I think I know what he's going to do. He's going to love it. He's going to say, Abhay is exactly like this in real life. Because I know how they saw me. And that's exactly what happened. He loved it. He said, Abhay is exactly like this in real life.
Subscribe to Midday India. Get direct notifications on all our videos by clicking on the bell icon.